Khan. As I was saying, that's essentially what this scripture is trying to portray, that we are not to be reliant on the affairs of this world or the occupations of this world, okay? Because our reliance stays within the Heavenly Father. He's the one who's going to heal us. He's the one who's going to help us. He's the one who's going to deliver us, okay? So therefore, that's why we put our trust and we put our faith in the Heavenly Father, okay? So I did want to grab this real quick just to show you what the word separate means, or how to say separate in Hebrew in the Ibaryath. You go to Genesis chapter 9, I believe it's verse 11. I just go to and it says, "And I will establish my covenant with you, neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore by the waters of the flood." Okay, and that word cut off is essentially separate. Okay? Separate. And it's karath. Karath. Okay, it says to cut off a body part, behead, to cut off, to hew, to make a to cut or make a covenant. And it says to cut down. And that's essentially what it means, because separation is essentially cutting or detaching, okay? As you can see in the definition, it says to pull apart. It says make ready, prepare. Okay, that's a different definition, but the other one is the adjective too. It says to detach or keep apart, okay? And that's essentially what the word karath is. And of course, I got to go to want to go to the Hebrew Old Testament and pull it up just so Akim can see it in the Ibaryath. Is Genesis chapter 9, Salak chapter 9, verse 11. I believe it's right here. Salak. There we go. It's a ka, a ra, and a tha. Karath. And that's essentially what the word cut means. And that's Genesis 9, verse 11, where you see the word cut off. Okay? So, yeah, Salakia, back to the point. I did want to grab the second precept right here. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It says, and as I was saying, it said no man that worth entangleth himself with the affairs of this world. And essentially, you have to, that's why you have to understand, you have to know yourself before you separate, because there's always steps and there's always guidelines to everything before you do it. And before you separate yourself from any and everything, you always have to know what's the key thing that grabs your attention. What's the first thing you like to do when you're after you're done doing something spiritual? What's the most what do you do when you're indulging in the flesh? Like what's the main course of your action when you're indulging in the flesh? Or what causes you to care? You got to question yourself, because you have to find out more about yourself in order to build yourself stronger. Okay? And that's essentially why I'm bringing this out. So this is 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Hamashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates? But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates. Okay? And that's why. So of course you know that you're not a reprobate, because you pray to the Heavenly Father. You have full-fledged faith in the Heavenly Father. You do the will of the Heavenly Father. So you understand that part. But the other part, the main part, is that you have to examine yourself. You have to know your ins and your outs, man. Okay? Because now, when you begin to know your ins and your outs, you can start aligning yourself more with the Heavenly Father. Okay? And more with the Heavenly Father's ways. You can start partaking in His ways. Then does not the scripture say, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect? Okay? So therefore, when you're before you separate, you have to examine. You have to know, what do I have to separate myself from? And how can I come up with a solution of how you can do it? Okay. And me personally, I separate myself from women. You know, I take a day out. I take a day, any random time, probably like from 6 o'clock Wednesday to 6 o'clock Thursday. And I put my phone on do not disturb. I just put all the women that I'm talking to, and I put put all the women that I'm talking to on high alert, so I can basically just separate myself, so I can have some time to really just indulge in the spirit, man. Because really, when you indulge in the spirit, it gives you a sense of strength. Because when you separate yourself from indulging and being with the, either whether it be woman or being on the game all the damn time, you understand how much it's unnecessary and how much it's not needful for you to indulge in it so much. It's just like, you got to think about it like this. The things that please your flesh is like sweets. You can only have but so much dessert, man. And we're in a time of bitterness right now. So you have to align yourself with bitterness. Okay? And as the great Apostle Gabar said in his recent video, he said, the more you he said something along the lines as the reason why the elect is not gonna lose a lot is because we weren't attached to a lot in this world. Okay? But those that are attached to a lot and have a lot of attachments in this world, when they get cut off, they're going to be all up in a quagmire, man. All in a scramble. You're going to be in your feelings. Okay? And essentially, you could get rooted out the faith through you being in your feelings, man. Because you didn't want to separate yourself now. Because that's essentially that's why the Heavenly Father put us in this predicament that we're in as of right now. To separate ourselves, man. We have to literally come clean to the Heavenly Father, man. Because essentially separating ourselves is cleaning ourselves. Okay? So, let me grab this last precept and, I'll be on my way after that. This is Romans, Salak. This is, Salakia. Romans chapter 8, verse 13. Okay, and this is really beginning to be one of my honestly favorite scriptures, man. It says, for if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye live through the spirit, but if ye through the spirit do mortify the deeds of your body, ye shall live. And that's essentially what it is. You have to separate yourself from the deeds of your body, which essentially is the excess. It's the things that please your flesh. You have to start to separate yourself from those things, because sooner than later you're not going to have it. Those things are not going to be accessible. Okay? Just even down to the necessity of food, the necessity of water. You got to separate yourself from that too, man, because it's going to be a time frame to where it's going to be a season to where it's not given as much as it is now, man. Okay? So that's why you do have to mortify yourselves or separate yourselves from those those things that tend to the flesh. Okay? So examination and separation, okay? And master the art of separation, because that is what is going to save us. These are traits that are going to get us to the kingdom of heaven, man. And I always think about this too. We're in a race, right? So in the race, there are different components that you need in order to excel. In order to excel and get closer to the Heavenly Father, okay? Because that's essentially what our job is. We want to be like the Heavenly Father. We want to please the Heavenly Father, okay? So in this race, not only are you going to need faith, not only are you going to need faith, you're going to need other components. And one of those components is the art of separation and also examination. These things are needful for you to excel, okay? So with that, of course, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakal Kadash, Shay Kabaga, Walla Rakab Zakoyim, Now Ba'aith, Wa Shalawam, Wa Barakim, Labakarim, Shah Yasha Allah. I really do hope that the elect were edified through this epistle. Of course, I give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakal Kadash, and if possible, keep these things on your mind just as well as I try to keep it on my mind too, man. Shalom.